So back in the beginning, when I started, back when things were in your hands tarot, here on YouTube, I started a little series type of thing called Tales of a Tarot Newbie. So if you've been with me since the beginning of this channel, then that might sound familiar to you. If not, then Tales of a Tarot Newbie was, they were videos that I was making breaking down the tarot cards and their meanings, starting with the major arcana, and then I was going to work my way through the entire 78 cards. I believe I only got maybe about the third or fourth major in, and then I stopped doing those videos. There wasn't really any particular reason why I stopped doing them. I just kind of started filming some other things. I also kind of wanted to get more familiar with the cards myself, and not even like just the traditional meanings for the cards, but I kind of wanted to develop my own sort of meanings for each of the cards, because I knew that the more I used them, the more I would kind of have my own understanding for each of the cards, so that when I came back to do these videos, not only would I be able to talk about the more traditional meanings of the cards, but also give sort of my take on each of them as well. And granted, I am still learning the cards. I definitely don't feel like I have them all mastered by any means, but I do feel like I understand them a lot better than I did a year ago when I started doing the videos, the Tales of a Tarot Newbie. But I'm not really picking this up from where I left off. I'm changing things up. I am no longer calling it Tales of a Tarot Newbie because it's a bit long for a title, and also I'm not sure when you can stop calling yourself a newbie, or when you should stop calling yourself a newbie. And I feel like I will reach a point where I will no longer be a newbie. But yeah, the main reason for the name change is just because it was a bit of a mouthful. It's kind of long. Also, it doesn't really explain what those videos are about, so I figured if we literally just call this Learning the Tarot or something along those lines, I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet, but it's gonna be something a bit more like simple than Tales of a Tarot Newbie. And I'm kind of just going to shuffle the cards, and whatever one I draw or whatever one pops out is the one that we are going to be talking about in that video. And I will be keeping a list off to the side of all of the ones that we have already talked about, so I'm not double making a video. And before we get started, I also wanted to mention that I will be using the Practical Tarot Wisdom deck to help me make these videos. I specifically asked for this deck for Christmas as a gift, because I wanted it to not only help myself learn the tarot cards better, but just in case I wanted to start up these learning videos again. So each of them have a picture along with a brief description of what the card is about. So I will be reading those out, and then I will also be giving my take on that card as well. So with all of that being said, let's get started. This deck is rather small, so it makes shuffling a whole lot easier than when I'm dealing with some of my other decks. Okay. Ooh. So we are starting off with an ace card, which I think is perfect. So we have the Ace of Wands. Grab that wand so you can create magic. You hold the creative spark needed to make things happen. Action is called for. A new passion makes its way into your heart. Whether it's art or artist, the zing is there. Be ready for the desire to fire up your life. So when we're talking about the wands, we're talking about your passions, your creativity. There's fire, there's sparks, and it makes a lot of sense because the element that the wands represent is fire. So you have drive and motivation and ambition. Like, those are the things that the wands represent. And then when we have an ace here, the ace is at the beginning, so that usually means that you're at the beginning of something, or something is about to start for you. So maybe it's a new creative idea, maybe it's a new business venture where you're going to be very passionate about it, or maybe even have to dig a little deeper into your imagination to come up with a new idea. The wands are dealing with things that you're passionate about, things that mean something to you. And in my opinion, that makes them a fun suit. Anytime that I pull a wand card out for myself, I get like excited to see it, because it's just, I don't know, when I get a sword card, I just feel like there's going to be something a bit more possibly darker and deeper that I'm going to have to be, dealing with. Whereas when I see a wand card, and this always depends on the context of the reading, like the questions that you've asked and that, but I don't know, the wands are more, they bring out your fun, creative side, things that, spark something inside of you, things that make you really happy. So the image that we have here for the Ace of Wands is like something is being presented to you. We have the hand coming out of the cloud here presenting this wand to you. And then in the background, we have our little palace castle sitting at the top of the hill, and a little stream of water running. It's kind of like in between you and that castle on the top of the hill. So this image makes me feel like you are being presented with this opportunity. If you put in the time, the effort, the drive, the motivation, the ambition, the emotional side to it, it leads me to believe that there's no reason why you cannot reach this palace at the top of the hill here. The ace cards are always exciting because they usually tend to talk about new beginnings and the start of something, which to me is an exciting period, especially if I feel like things have been a little stagnant for some time. Nothing, everything's just kind of been the same. There's not really any change. The aces, they bring upon change. They bring upon something new, and it kind of gives me something to look forward to, or something to work towards. So yeah, that's what I have for the Ace of Wands. I know that everybody has their own interpretation for each of the cards, and there is more to its traditional meaning as well. This is sort of just like a little brief snippet for you to kind of grasp the idea of what the card is about. But I always recommend, if you want to learn the traditional meanings more, Google has been my best friend. Google and guidebooks, really good guidebooks, because not all decks have good guidebooks, but I can always count on Google to take me to websites, especially the Biddy Tarot website. I highly recommend that one for learning the tarot meanings, because there is just a ton of information on each of the cards. And you also may find yourself developing your own sort of connections and meanings to each of the cards the more you use them. And that is something important to be paying attention to, and it's not something that you want to dismiss. By no means do you always have to stick to the traditional meanings of the cards. Now, if you're doing a reading and the traditional meaning seems to be what is calling to you and what fits, then for sure, go for it. But if you're getting something else when reading the cards. Don't ignore it. Don't think that it's automatically wrong, because that's not with what this card traditionally means. Pay attention to everything. You know, you make little subtle connections that you're not even really focusing on. You don't even know what's happening until you end up pulling that card again, and suddenly you feel like this stream of water here, it represents something for you. Or this cloud, you know, clouds have a special meaning for you in some way. Those are things that you should definitely take into account when reading the cards. So yeah, there you have it. That is the first video back of me doing these little tarot talk teaching card videos, or at least talking to you guys about what the cards mean and what they mean to me. I hope you found this video to be helpful and insightful in some way. And if you guys do end up liking these videos, I will gladly continue making them. I'm hoping to sort of set up a schedule for these videos, like maybe filming them on the weekends and having them up either on Sunday or Monday or something. I want to try and stick to a schedule. Not saying that that's gonna happen, but that is something that I'm going to really try to do. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next one.